This is RJ from the Osiris Podcast Network and the Helping Friendly Podcast. This is the first of what we hope will be many weekly roundups. We want to give people a sense for what's happening across the network in terms of podcasts, news, new content, etc. So look for more, and thanks for tuning in. As everyone hopefully knows, we launched this week. You can check out everything at osirispod.com, and I'm going to link to a Relics interview that was done with Tom Marshall and myself. Really cool to be in there and to be talking about the network. So please check that out if you haven't yet. All this stuff will be in the show notes. And this is our first time doing this, so give us some slack, but we'll keep getting better. I'm going to go in alphabetical order on our podcast and just talk about what's happening with each of them. First, Beyond the Pond. Their most recent episode is the second part of their conversation with Tom Marshall. I learned a lot, and it was really fun to listen to. You should check out both parts. Bluest Tape, the Widespread Panic podcast, the guys interview Curtis George, who created PanicStream.com, and they talk about the recent Panic and La Playa event. Daddy Unscripted, the parenting podcast. That's the second part of the interview with Tom Keeley, who's a good friend of mine and a really, really good guy, and he's a guitarist for the band Thursday. He talks about parenting and being a dad and musician and that sort of stuff, so really, really fun. Our newest podcast is the Daily Soundcheck with Myke, Memo, Menio. He actually put out 5 episodes this week, which is incredible. And the point of that podcast is really to go through and highlight sound checks, some of which we have lots of audio to, and some of which we have just a couple snippets. But he does a good job of contextualizing it all and playing it. It's really good, really cool. Looking forward to seeing where that goes. On GuitarCast, Andy talks with Chris Murphy, who's a violinist from the Devil's Box Stringband. And on the Helping Friendly podcast, we recap the Trey solo acoustic tour with Will Urquhart of the DC Music Review, and we actually play his recording of the show that Trey did at 6th and I on February 14th. It was really fun to talk to Will, but also the sound that he got out of that room is really great. Inside Out with Turner and Seth, they do a pretty hilarious 50th episode awards-style show. They grab snippets from former episodes and generally made me laugh, so check that out. The No Simple Road family, they talk with guitar great John Kadlicek. I love what that crew's doing, and their vibe is great. If you haven't checked them out yet, please do. The Road to Now, which is the history podcast done by Dr. Ben Sawyer and Bob Crawford of the Avett Brothers. They talk to author Robert Mary about President William McKinley and what we can learn from that presidency about the current situation that the Republican Party and the country is in. It was a really good listen. The Sound with Ira Haberman is 2 episodes this week. The first with Tim Bloom of the Mother Hips, and the second with Dan Leibowitz of Animal Liberation Orchestra. No idea how he records and puts out 2 episodes per week, but he's doing a great job, so check those out if you haven't yet. And then finally, Strangers Stopping Strangers. Stacy talks with Rob Turner of Inside Out with Turner and Seth. That's part 2 of their conversation. It's really cool to hear them trade old dead stories and just talk about the dead in a way that feels very familiar and fun, and it's a good listen. So that's a roundup. We're going to be adding a lot more podcasts very soon, so there's going to be a lot more of these recaps to go through, but we thought it might be helpful for people just to kind of hear a few minutes about what's going on across the network, and thanks for everyone's support and feedback so far, and we'll keep you all updated as we continue to grow and expand. And as always, please send us thoughts on Twitter at OsirisPod, or get in touch with us through the website or Facebook page or Instagram. We'd love to hear what you all think and what you all would like to see more of. So I'm RJ, thanks again, and we'll see you next week.